About it. Joe Khalil is live there with the very latest. Joe.
Adrian, we are learning a little bit more now about some of the people, some of the migrants who have been dropped off here. One is that we've just heard collectively some of these people have come from a number of different countries, mostly Central America. We heard somebody from Mexico, but a lot from Venezuela as well. We also know there are now at least a couple, three by our count, aid organizations that are here trying to help these people, give them some kind of resource. What we know is that not a lot of them are going to end up in D.C. At least that is the thought right now. Some of the representatives from these aid organizations are telling us that many of these people have family members in other parts of the country, and the goal here isn't to find them shelter in D.C., maybe temporarily, but the goal is to try to connect them with some of their family members while they are ultimately going to wait for their cases in immigration court to try to apply for asylum. That is the ultimate goal, and that is what we've just learned here in the last couple of minutes. I do want to give you a lay of the land, because what you're seeing now, people who have been dropped off, and you are quite literally seeing some people with just pillows, many with just the clothes on their back, and not a whole lot. There is serious confusion here about what comes next for many of these folks. You know, taking the political discussion aside, there is a humanitarian situation, and many of these people simply don't know where they're going to end up, whether they will be ultimately allowed to stay in the United States. Just to give you a lay of the land as well here, Jesse, if we could turn around here, that across the street is the vice president's residence. That is the Naval Observatory. You can sort of see the clock there, and it is a heavily fortified area, lots of gates. These two buses full of migrants were dropped off just on the grass outside of where the gate is. And they have since crossed the street over to where we are standing right now. It seemed as though some aid organizations, leaders, were walking them away from this area. Not exactly sure why, but they did stop here and they're sort of regrouping. As we mentioned, guys, in the first half hour of the show, we're waiting to hear from Mayor Bowser and from her office. Her office declared a state of emergency here in Washington, D.C. after, by her count, more than 9,000 migrants had been dropped off in the nation's capital. This office that is now set up to deal specifically with this issue, we have not heard from them. Presumably this would be on them mostly to try to handle this, figure out where these folks are going next. Right now it's in the hands of these aid organizations who are here trying to, in the immediate term, get all of the people who have been dropped off here a meal. What we've seen here, certainly a lot of young men. We've seen families as well. A big group that looked like more families and children had actually been taken away from this area. Not sure where they have been, but you can see still there are families here. There are young men here, a couple of them getting something to eat quickly. They are just uncertain about what is happening now, because there are a few representatives from these aid organizations we wanted to talk to live. It looks like they are not able to join us in this moment. If we can get them later on, I'll let you know. But that's the latest from here. Still a lot of uncertainty. This is still new. It's only been, maybe an hour or 2 hours that they have been here. And a lot more questions than answers at this point about what is going to happen to this specific group of migrants who, for the first time, have been dropped outside of the vice president's residence and not at Union Station in Washington, D.C., where we have seen buses and buses come before. So unprecedented here. Guys, we'll keep you posted, and we'll give you the latest as we get more information about what's happening here.
Hey, Joe, a quick question for you. Do you see any type of police presence, any type of governmental presence there besides what it looks like is people who might work for a charitable organization?
Zero. And that's what we've been waiting for. And actually, guys, if we do have a couple of minutes, I'm now joined by Carla. Okay, what you're seeing, people are coming here giving clothes and food. I wanted to acknowledge that that's what you just saw. So, Carla, thank you again for joining us now. Could you give us just a little bit more information about what comes next for these folks? And also let us know actually which aid organization that you were with.
Okay, I'm part of an NGO that supports local first responder NGOs. So there's a coalition, there's so many different people, I can name a few. There's humanitarian actionists on the ground. I am the director of Visión Diaspora, which tries to find resources within the Venezuelan diaspora to assist for social development. So we just had to plug in and come support the first responders. And What's happening today? Well, today our whole, the whole system to support the migrants was just thrown up in the air when the location was changed.
So you didn't expect to be here this morning?
We did not
get a
expect
heads
to
up?
be here. We were at Union Station since 6 in the morning waiting for the migrants. No buses were coming. We got on the phones and we made it to the National Naval Observatory, and we realized that this was yet another political stunt for the federal government to take action. However, this should have a humanitarian response. So the efforts to treat this as a humanitarian crisis is being undermined and is actually being it's being challenged. They're creating bigger challenges for us to treat the human suffering.
Can I ask you, Carla, what comes next? What is the immediate step? Where are these people going to go?
These people are going to a safe place in a faith-based organization, in a church, where we're able to assess what their needs are, what their medical needs, and what their final destinations are, and try to get them there. So buy them bus tickets, buy them plane tickets, just try to get them to their final destination, understand if they have medical needs, understanding if they don't have a final destination, what their housing needs in the Washington area would be. That's incredibly challenging.
Are you waiting for any kind of response from the mayor's office, from officials in D.C.? It seems like there's nobody out here right now. Are you communicating with the mayor's office at all?
I personally am not, but I know that most of the local NGOs and the coalition have been doing the political work that needs to be done, so there's an official stand on it. They have received some funds to treat the crisis from the D.C. government, from Montgomery County, but not enough. Just to give you an example, to get them food, you saw the logistics. It's mostly volunteers, cars. It's mostly volunteered bringing clothes donations. Then we're also going to have, where I'm personally going to go pick up food from a local restaurant, and I want to give a shout out to some of the local restaurants that have been donating food to us, like Imperfecto, 7 Reasons, Arepa Zone. Again, members of the diaspora, making sure that they have a response. So I wish our local authorities would have a bigger humanitarian response to this crisis. Most likely, the community has come together.
Okay. All right, Carla, thank you so much for talking to us and giving us that really important context that we needed to understand this story. Guys, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, Joe, thank you very much for all of that.
And we've got more to come on Morning in America.
Yeah, NewsNation exclusive.